But when you know, I've talked to a lot of you say specialists in the electromagnetic fields, and you know they all keep saying when we get into this topic, oh, it won't heat your brain and it won't. But it's like, you know, they're talking in another world. It's like that they don't have the full picture of what is really going on.
I wouldn't say they don't have the full picture. I would say
they're not allowed to say it, or
they're not allowed to say, because they know that they lose their funding and their job, and they can be killed at the worst, or then they get a heart attack anyway, and they get sick, they get cancer. Because killing today is not with the boom boom, you know, except for presidents and prime ministers, because they want to demonstrate. It is by causing cancer, a tumor, you become deaf and you become blind and whatever. And that is normal. That is normal, you know.
Say,
what?
We cannot just be silent. You know, we have to go out because, you know.
I feel absolutely people who know they have to, but if you are a scientist and you depend, you know, your job depends on that, and then you can never get another job. I can understand they are bound by, because when they went into the field, they had to already, like in the military, say that they have they have the code of silence. They are not allowed to talk.
Yeah.
But then they are going against their own people, and that I don't understand. Science is nothing if it goes against your own people.
No, exactly.
I mean, why are we here? What is the meaning of human beings' lives?
Yeah.
It's spiritually to evolve, all of us. Even the poorest man in Africa or child dying in Asia, we should help them instead of eliminating them for money and power and whatever. I just, it doesn't go into my brain.
When you meet people and you can really, you know, when you get aligned with your soul, you see into other people's soul. You see their potential without them even knowing that, and that can be tricky because you see how much they can do, but they are not connected to that. And that's the tricky part. I think it's that their soul has been suppressed, so they are just stuck with material things, bigger houses, bigger cars, holidays all the time, and eating, drinking, and what I call mediocre sex. Because when you're not have your soul with it, where's the love, the real love? It's a pseudo life, you can say.
Well, I think we should be all striving towards the universal love, and that is love for everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a male or female or dolphin or your cat or whatever, if it's a child dying in Africa or whatever, or even the elite person who is doing bad things towards you.
Yeah.
But of course, before we can get to that stage, it takes an awful lot. And to forgive is one of our lessons. Our lessons in lives are very, very different from what we think that are important.
Yeah.
I know my lesson is to forgive, because they've done awful things to my family. But maybe it's possible that I'll just stay in the class. I don't pass the exam. But if I evolve, then I will forgive them.
Yeah.
That's very difficult in sometimes with the fates that people have. When you think of wars and you think of all the bad things that they are planning to eliminate the whole, you know, 2/3 of world population.
Yeah.
But those doing it, that is the worst. They think that they're doing something good.
Yeah.
It's like the military doing, this is for national security, you know.
Yeah.
For them it's the Bible, you know, national security. You just say that and you can do anything. You can eliminate people, you can torture them, you can rape children. National security. Now that's just stupidity. But in the military and in science, again I repeat, they are never taught what it is to be a human being.
Yeah.
You can't kill a human being. You can kill their bodies, you can kill their houses.
Yeah.
And with electronic warfare going on now, today, all over the Western world, against civilian population, they are experimenting and making them sick, making them die, with psychological warfare, surveillance of your neighbors and whatever. And of course they say, oh, paranoia. No, it isn't. It's all according to the paragraphs, how you're supposed to do certain things.
Yeah.
And then chemical warfare. And that is of course done with chemtrails, which are terrible. But the history of the US, for instance, shows that already in the 50s, airplanes in San Francisco and elsewhere, they were throwing viruses and bacteria to cause people to be sick and die. Can you imagine? Already in the 50s. Now it's coming out. Now even anybody can see chemical trails. They are, you know, planes that show X, for instance, at the sky. Expendables. My house has many expendable signs. and they have viruses there if they want, they have bacteria there if they want, but normally in chemtrails they have aluminium, titanium, barium and magnesium in powder form. And when you breathe it in, you become sick maybe with asthma, with bronchitis, but you also become implanted with a microchip. And when you have metal in your body, even if it's amalgam in your teeth, which is about 50% at least mercury, so then the beaming towards you with electronic warfare experimentation is much easier. And that's why they want you to have amalgam, and they want you to have all kinds of metal things inside your body. And people know nothing about it. And then they say, oh, this is paranoia, you know, come on. My government, my military is there, my police is there to protect me. That used to be maybe 100 years ago. But anyway, today they are experimenting. And the experimentations are deadly. And they're very, very bad. Now, we have to know that not always everybody, 100%, is subject to experimentation. But with the chemtrails, anybody who happens to be in that area where the aeroplanes, and they're not only military, they also use passenger planes to spread the things into the air. So, of course, everybody will be affected. And with electronic warfare, absolutely anybody going on the streets where they change the frequencies of the lamps. It's electronic warfare. And in medical schools, they teach you that if somebody says that, oh, there are beams coming towards me, you're schizophrenic or whatever. Medical schools do not teach the future doctors what the truth is. They have to find it out later in their own life and with their own dealing with the patients.